Alright, we are going to rank every main Superman character from the movie that just came out this summer. I am a little less raw about this if I did this a little sooner, but stuff just went on. I'm still trying to do something just for a nice send-off for Superman after reviewing it. Now we're just going to rank some of the characters, and I have a good selection of characters here. I would say I don't want to do anyone that I don't think I have a good enough judgment on, or I don't have a good enough memory of, but if I don't have a good enough memory of them to get a good reading on them, odds are that they just weren't all that important to the plot. I do want to give an honorable mention though to R.I.P. my man who talked to Superman for one moment and got killed because of it. But we'll get right into this ranking. We have Jesus Christ, Lex Luthor is on my mind. We got robot number 4. My goodness, I can't believe I just started it off like that. This was more of a comic relief sort of character. I liked the weird enough just not having a subconscious to have empathy and sympathy for people because it's a robot, doesn't have feelings, but still managed to be really comical and almost kind of sensible in a sense. Didn't appear all that much. Like I said, was just kind of there for being a part of Superman's little lab and his technology per se. There were other robots too. I just thought number 4 stood out the most. He was the one that talked the most amongst all the robots. They all were just robots, but they were kind of funny being that way. I give him a solid B tier because they did have some funny moments. The robots were really cool. Maybe the other ones too. If they had more of a little more prominence, then they could have also made this tier list as well. Next we have Green Lantern. This guy, meant to come off as a little annoying in this movie. Not really all that helpful at all, but I guess that was just what Green Lantern's character was going to be for this movie. I would probably say a solid, honestly, I'm going to go with C tier, but he was a fine. It's weird because he could have been potential to be just funny, but I don't think he was even involved all that much. And he definitely got overshadowed by another one, a part of that trio of him, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about who was the standout one from that trio. Next we have Jimmy, another just side character, but brought a lot to the table. I did like his relationship, or the dynamic per se with Eve, which we'll get to later on. And he also worked at the same place that Lois Lane did, being a, I guess, just journalist interviewer in NYC. And he just had a lot of scenes that I really appreciated out of this movie. Almost, he's one of those characters that you would see pop up in a short to DVD, or just an end credit scene of him doing some miscellaneous stuff. But yeah, he was a fun character. I probably would put him right above Robot though. Robot number 4. He did not show up enough to be above Jimmy, unfortunately. But I liked him. If anything, I kind of wish he got involved more. He just was really chill like that. Next, we got Lois Lane. This is an immediate S tier character, in my opinion. I think what really won Lois Lane in this movie and the portrayal of that character is I love the low grounded moments. I love how you almost kind of follow her own individual journey with other characters around her, but she also almost takes center stage in her own side plot. And I think they handled her really well. I love the low grounded moments with her and Superman, just humanizing them, talking about just the stakes and the reality of things. She was that level head that Superman needed, and she was just the level head that I think most of the characters needed. She was just really awesome. I'm really glad that they had a nice payoff with her at the end too. That was really nice. So Lois Lane I feel has to be an S tier. I actually really appreciate how they handled her character in this movie. Really good. Really, really good. Next we have Lex Luthor. My goodness, this guy told me that I'm not hating enough. This guy put some new inspiration in people that they are not hating to their full capacity. And you know what? Just for that alone, he should go into S tier. But in all seriousness, he actually was a really good villain. It's almost he's so evil and so hateful towards Superman, you almost have to just respect it. You know what? At that point, I respect the commitment, because I don't know who else is going that far just to end Superman, starting wars and all that stuff. But I just thought he was also just a really nice villain. He's not just a villain for the sake of being evil. He has some decent layers to him. He has a decent character imposed on the figure of Lex Luthor. This guy did a great job. And fun fact, this guy was auditioning for Superman. He did not get the role. Maybe he was not acting. He was not acting. That was internal hatred just expressed through another character of not getting the role of Superman. So yeah, I'm putting him in S. Probably he wouldn't like that though, because he's gonna say S stands for Superman. I don't want to be there. But he's going there. Next we have, before we get to that, I also just want to say that whole like 1A, that is so freaking funny. I love seeing that pop in my feed. Next we have Eve. This is another, I guess, sort of comic relief sort of character. She was like unserious, but kind of serious at the same time. I would say more unserious, but like not in a bad way. Brought something to the table. She had that weird dynamic with Jimmy. She was really, I guess the word used for her is like, it was like a mix of just paranoia and just like laughing things off. But I mean, it still was a solid character in my opinion. I don't think she was as good as Jimmy per se, even though kind of both of them in terms of like roles and where they stand, they're on the same sort of platform. I'm gonna put her in B tier though. Probably behind the robot. No, don't find your way in A tier, Eve. You're going in B. All right. Next we have Crypto the dog. I know, like, in all intents and purposes, it's a dog, but I don't care. It's going into S tier. And you know what? This is so stupid, but like I'm just being a little unserious to myself. I love Crypto the dog. He's my favorite character. He was so cute. I loved when he just like came in at the end and started attacking Lex. It was kind of a rough watch when he was being experimented on and all that stuff, but he was such a good dog. I just loved any scene that he was in. It's hard for me to get me to hate any animals in movies, especially dogs, but Crypto the dog was amazing in this movie. And I know like he didn't have like as good storytelling obviously as Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, right? This is just me being unserious. I don't have to always be like, sometimes I can be unserious but still just like characters and like just kind of be funny about it. We're having a fun time here. I'm trying to make it a fun time. We have Crypto the dog. No one's dethroning him at the top of S tier. So if you don't agree with me, then I don't know why you don't like Crypto the dog like that. He's amazing. He's a deserved S tier candidate. Not just a candidate, he's the owner of S tier. I love Crypto the dog. Next we have Mr. Terrific. Okay, this character, among that trio I was talking about with Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, my goodness, this guy was like probably the most useful one of the three. He was more useful than the other two combined. I almost want to say S tier character for him. I was gonna say A tier because I liked how he kind of stepped up. He actually had a nice dynamic with Lois Lane when they were trying to find Superman after he was imprisoned. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be that bold and put him in S tier. I think he's one of the best characters, all seriousness, in this movie, and I really liked the role that he played. I don't know, I didn't really find anything much to dislike about him. He was really helpful too. I don't really think they would get as far as they did without his help and his expertise, if you will. He's that kind of character I'd love to see a whole movie about himself, and I think it could work for sure. Next we have Hawkgirl. Definitely not as good as Mr. Terrific. I don't even know if she's better than Green Lantern, because at least Green Lantern was kind of like comical in a sense, but I also just feel like, I just didn't really think she did enough in my opinion, and because I just don't really have much of a refreshed memory about her as some of these other characters after having it been a week since I've seen the movie probably tells me something. So I'm just gonna put her in C tier for now. Next we have Supergirl. Obviously this was like the big thing at the end, kind of just teasing her because she's getting her own movie. I can't wait for that, but by default Supergirl wasn't really in this movie enough. I just kind of put her on this list for fun, kind of just like cameo character, but she is the actual owner of Crypto the dog, right? Crypto was being babysat basically, and that is like his actual owner, right? So Supergirl, I'm still gonna put her in B because not like she does anything like wrong, right? But like, yeah, she's just not really in the movie. Like I said, I just kind of put her here for fun, but it's cool. Let's add to the count. Why not? I really am looking forward to that movie about her though. Let's bring that on, please. Next we have Superman's dad, who you saw in two ways. Obviously, you saw him in the real time, and you saw the message that him and Superman's mom sent years ago when they were obviously a lot younger. And he had that one really awesome scene with Superman. I'm also gonna probably put him like in the back of B. I'm gonna put him above Eve too. I'd say that above Eve, above Supergirl. So we're gonna put him in B tier right there. I feel like that's a fair list. This might be the only time I don't put a character in A. Well, who knows? The last one maybe. Next we have Superman himself. Like, this one has to be an S tier. I mean, S might as well stand for Superman, right? But again, I also liked how you kind of saw his struggles. You saw his point of view. You saw those low grounded scenes where you saw his perspective. You saw Lois Lane's perspective. You were starting to see where his head lied, where things were going wrong, where things were going right, what he thought his future looked like, what his end goal was, what he anticipated, what he didn't. I just thought overall, this is probably one of the better movie interpretations of Superman as a hero, as a superhero in quite a while. You know, he's never been one of my like go-to superheroes, right? But this movie does do him a decent amount of justice. I'll definitely give him that. I'm probably gonna say this might be controversial, but do I want to put him behind Lex Luthor? I'm still gonna put him above these two. I feel like I don't know. I do like Lois Lane so much though. I really do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna still put him behind Lois Lane, but I will put him above Lex Luthor. But so just yeah, these five right here I think were the best characters. These five right here were the shining light of this entire movie by far. Next we have not Mr. Terrific. Again, he's another character in my mind. Next we have the engineer, obviously working for Lex Luthor. It's like this weird, like, mechanical woman terror thing, and it was really interesting. I don't really think she had enough of like a solo personality. I mean, her name's engineer for a reason. It's not like she's named like, I don't know, Skylar or Charlotte or something like that. And like, I don't really think there was like too much of a human side to her. Not that there had to be, but because she's like kind of one of those like threats. Yeah, she was a threat. She has some cool features to her and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's a little more toward the sometimes it's not a bad thing, right? But I just don't think there's anything that puts her above and beyond. Because I still see A as like, you know, you went a little more beyond. I'm probably going to put her, though. I'll give her some justice and put her like behind, I guess, Jimmy right here in B. So weirdly enough, I don't have a single character in A. But yeah, that's probably my entire list. Like I said, I don't hate her character. I just don't think there's anything as crazy about her to put in A, but she's still solid, you know. But I think this is a really like overall like fair list. Let me know if you guys think I'm way too harsh on these two right here, because like I know C tier sounds bad. I'll be so real though. I am just kind of comparing their contribution to Mr. Terrific, and compared to him, yeah, they kind of fell short. But even like viewing them as their own characters, I feel like, I don't know, they could have done a little more. But yeah, that's overall my entire tier list for the Superman movie. Let me know what any of you think in the comments down below. But like I said, I only included characters I feel like I had a good reading on. I don't want to be unfair and start giving opinions for characters I don't have a good reading on, and then I just sound like I'm just talking for the sake of talking. I want to just talk about these characters when I actually have like a good rationale and a good just feel behind their role and importance and stuff. So yeah, that's tier list for Superman 2025.